Hello, welcome to Notes 3.03. Today we're talking about the exterior angle theorem and side angle relationships. All right. So the exterior angle theorem is when we have a triangle and one side of the triangle is extended so that we form an angle outside. So exterior angle means an angle outside. I'm going to call this one X. Okay. Now if this was triangle labeled A, B, C, there's two angles in where vertex C is. So C is a point, and we have two angles there. Angle X, that's outside, and this smaller angle here inside. Now we don't know the measure of the smaller angle or the outside angle, but there's a rule here. The exterior angle theorem says an exterior angle equals the sum of non-adjacent interior angles. So what that's going to mean is that this angle X outside equals the sum of this angle at A and this angle at B. So how we're going to write that is that the measure of angle X, which falls outside exterior, equals the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B. So if I were to kind of estimate here, if angle A is 60 degrees and angle B is 80 degrees, okay, 60 and 80 add to 140. So if I take 180 minus 140, that gives us the inside angle here is 40 if we're talking about the three angles in the triangle. Okay. Well, if that inside angle is 140, these two angles are supplementary. So by default, angle X is 140 degrees. So what we're saying here is that the measure of angle X outside equals the sum of these two angles together every time. So that's a theorem. That's a rule we accept as true all the time. Okay. To find the value of the missing angle question mark. So with that rule, letter A here goes very quickly. That this angle and this angle are inside the triangle. Those are going to add to this outside angle. So this picture is kind of rotated upside down and made bigger. Okay, so these two pictures are essentially the same thing. We have an angle outside, we're going to call that X. We have these two remote interior angles. Now mathematically, again, we could say 180 minus 70 minus 50 gives us that the third angle in the triangle here would be 60 degrees. Okay. But we don't need to find that. Right. If we just added 70 plus 50, we're going to find this outside angle to be 120. So mathematically, the reason that this all works is because these three angles add to 180 are supplementary, and these two angles are supplementary. Okay. So if we take out the angle that kind of overlaps there, these two add to make this one every time. Oops, sorry about that. These two add to make this one every time. So that angle S and angle T aren't touching the exterior angle here in that triangle. So these add to the outside angle. Using that in the reverse scenario for angle B, if we want to find this angle question mark, I'm going to put an X here. The rule says the exterior angle equals, now in this case we have angle T and angle U are the two angles that don't touch that angle S here. So that exterior angle equals the measure of angle T plus the measure of angle U. Well, our exterior angle is the 110 degrees. That equals 80 is angle T plus X. So in this case, we're going to subtract the 80 over and find that angle X is, actually, let's call it angle U. Sorry about that. Angle U, which is where our variable X is going to be 30 degrees there because 110 minus 80 does give us 30. Okay. So these are nice examples when we could find all the angles in the triangle and then kind of work out from there. However, we need this theorem, this angle x equals angles A plus B, for a question like number 2. So again, the rule says the angle outside, or the exterior angle, okay, the angle exterior or the angle outside equals, in our case, it's going to be angles P and Q here. These angles P and Q do not touch the outside angle at R. So the exterior angle here is going to equal the measure of angle P plus the measure of angle Q. So again, this outside angle is represented by the expression 8 plus 6x. And angle P is 30, angle Q is 4x plus 2. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, well, these two add to 180, right? But we have no information about this angle. We don't know if it's 5 times the value of x plus 2. We don't know it's anything about it. So that's like a big question mark there. So what we're going to do is set this exterior angle, this outside angle, 8 plus 6x, equal to these angles P and Q added together. So the exterior angle is 8 plus 6x equals 30 plus 4x plus 2. So combining like terms, we have 8 plus 6x is going to stay here, equals 32 plus 4x, same side sum. And I'm going to subtract the 8 over because that's smaller. I'm going to move the 4x's over because they're smaller. So then these cancel. 6 minus 4 gives us 2x equals 32 minus 8 is going to be 24. Therefore, x is 12 when we divide by 2. Now finishing out this question. So again, we have the exterior angle equals the sum of the two non-adjacent inside angles. So the two angles not touching the exterior angle. Now, we need to make sure we answer the question. So if we're looking for angle PRQ, that's this opening here. Okay. Now we can't find that directly. We don't have an expression to just sub the 12 back into. But what we can do is take this 12 and put it into the outside angle, and then these two angles add to 180. So to find angle PRQ, we're going to take 8 plus 6 times 12. Find out what that is. So 8 plus 6 times 12 gives us 80 degrees. So our 80 degrees is the outside angle. So if our exterior angle equals 80, then its supplement equals 100 degrees. So we're going to have 100 degrees in here for that angle because these two angles together add to 180. Right? So again, we first set up an equation to find the exterior angle, the outside angle, equal the sum of these two angles. X was 12. We couldn't directly find the angle they asked for. We had to sub in for the outside piece and kind of go through this as a puzzle. Okay. Now we could have gone back in if we had put the 12 into the inside angle. 4 times 12 plus 2 gives us 50 degrees here. Well, then 50 and 30 adds to 80. And then we have 100. Looking at exercise 3. In the diagram of triangle PQR shown below, PR is extended to angle S. Angle P is 110 degrees, angle Q is 4x, and angle QRS is the exterior angle there, is x squared plus 5x. Find the measure of angle PRQ. So we're finding the same angle here. This one here is what they're asking for. However, we can't directly find that because we don't know the value of x, and we don't know the outside angle here, that these add to 180. So what we're going to do is set up another equation that the outside angle equals the sum of these two inside angles. So our equation is going to start x squared plus 5x, the exterior angle, equals angle P plus angle Q. It's almost the same exact letters happen to be in this picture than they were in this picture. So we have x squared plus 5x equals 4x plus 110. Now in this equation, we need to get a 0 on one side of the equation over here. So we're going to subtract over 4x and subtract over 110. So subtract 4x, subtract 110. So if we try to keep our equation balanced, the right-hand side here becomes a big 0 equals x squared. 5x minus 4x is 1x, positive 1x, minus 110. And in this case, we always have to factor from there. So what multiplies to 110 and has a difference of 1? Well, if we put in negative 110 divided by x and go into our table of values, we're going to go to find a set of ordered pairs that are 1 apart. So here we have negative 10 and 11. Those add to make 1. So negative 10 plus 11 add to make our 1 in the middle. And negative 10 times 11 multiplies to the negative 110. So again, we had to multiply to negative 110, add to make positive 1 is going to be x plus 11, x minus 10. Therefore, setting each factor equal to 0 gives us x equals negative 11 and x equals positive 10. Now, if we were to sub back in this negative 11, that gives us negative 44 degrees here for angle Q. So we're actually going to reject the negative because it can't be negative angle measure. So going back in here to x squared plus 5x, well, what's 10 squared plus 5 times 10 going to be? 100 plus 50 is going to be 150. Therefore, the angle next door to that has got to be 30 degrees because 180 minus 150 is 30 degrees. So our final answer here for number 3 is that the measure of angle PRQ is going to be 30 degrees. Okay. So again, once you set up your equation, the exterior angle equals the sum of the two inside angles. Okay. We set our equation equal to 0. We factored according to what multiplied to negative 110 and what adds to 1. Okay. Next page. Side angle relationships. Okay. This sounds pretty intuitive, but trying to figure it out in a picture gets a little funky. All right. So longest side is opposite your largest angle. Oh, the word angle's already there for me, Miss Locke. And your shortest side is opposite the smallest angle. So if I were actually to draw a triangle here, let's say I have a segment AB, okay? And then I draw another segment so that it makes an acute angle, so that that angle's acute. When I had to try that again. Now it's acute. Okay? Now, no matter how long I make these two lines, when I go to connect the endpoints, okay, I'm going to get a length of a side. So if this is an angle, okay, the side opposite is the side connecting the ends of these two segments. So if I started with segment A and segment B, and this is angle X, okay? Side opposite angle X is up here, and I'll call that little x, all right? So when we have this right triangle off to the left-hand side here, angle B is the right angle. That's got to be the largest angle here. These two angles are cute and baby sized. Okay, so if this is the largest angle, then opposite that angle is side little b. So again, when we label angles of a triangle, we always use capital letters, capital A, capital B, capital C. In the second picture, capital L, capital J, capital K. All right, so those capital letters in geometry are important. When we have an angle of B, little b is called the side. Okay, so that side B is going to actually be the longest side because it's opposite the biggest angle. So your right angle is your largest angle, and side B is going to be your longest side because it's opposite the biggest angle. Looking over here, we have three sides given to us. So the opposite of these is true. So biggest angle, longest side, if we know that's the longest side, then that's got to be the biggest angle. So it works in both ways. So in this picture, we have a length of 18 yards from K to J, 16 and 14. So 18 is our longest side. That means this side touches these two angles. So L is the angle opposite that side. So K and J meet at the 18. Okay, that segment from J to K is the 18. So if I cover up that side, the only angle left over is angle L. So the longest side, JK, is opposite the largest angle, L. So if there's only three letters in a triangle, if your side is from J to K, then the only letter left over for a three-sided figure is going to be angle L. So in scaling triangle ABC, the angles are the ratio of 2 to 3 to 4. So angles, and we're going to be talking about triangle ABC, so A, B, C are in a ratio of 2x. So these ratios automatically become 2x, 3x, and 4x. 3x is B. Oops, sorry about that. So let's try this again. So we have triangle ABC. A is 2x, B is 3x, C is 4x. Okay. 2x, 3x, 4x. So they went in order. So A was the 2x, B was the 3x, C was the 4x. Now, I put the x's in because twice a measure, 3 times a measure, 4 times a measure. If I just added 2, 3, and 4 together, that doesn't add to 180. So we have to decide what we multiply by that x value. So here we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9x adds together to equal 180 because we're talking about angles, and angles always add to 180 degrees. Therefore, x is 20 degrees. So if I were to redraw that picture, okay, again, this diagram might not be to scale, but if A is here, B is here, C is here, well, A is 2x is 40 degrees, B is 3x is 60 degrees, C is 4x, which is 80 degrees. Now those add to 180, so we know we're good. So 100 plus 80 more would be 180. Next couple questions ask us to write an inequality. So when we think inequality, less than or greater than, okay, to list the angles in order from least to greatest. Well, ABC went 2, 3, 4. So angle A's got to be the smallest, is less than. Angle B is the middle measure, is less than angle C. So again, we have angle symbols and inequality symbols kind of going together there. We got to be careful. Write an inequality to list the sides from shortest to longest. Well, if A was the smallest angle, I'm going to cover it up. Okay. If that's the smallest angle, then the side opposite that angle is side BC. So it's the other two letters. So therefore, BC is the smallest side. So again, if angle A is the smallest angle, side BC is the shortest side. So that when you open a small amount, connecting these 2 points isn't that big. So again, if I use my pens here to kind of talk about this. If I have these two pens and I only open them this much to that 40-degree angle, connecting it here is small. But if I open it a little bit bigger, we have a bigger angle. That means this side becomes longer if I were to connect some points on my pens here. Okay? So BC is the shortest. The next shortest is the next smallest angle. So since angle B is the middle-sized angle, then the side opposite that is side AC. So you're going to kind of imagine yourself standing on angle B. If I'm standing here and I'm looking up across the picture, I'm going to hit that side of the triangle AC. In the last case, if angle C is the smallest, okay, we're going to cover that up. The only side left over is side AB. Now, this is something that I can explain for days, but until you and I maybe sit next to each other in class, I'll re-explain this one more time and it might kind of click for you. But if you need to re-listen to that piece, angle A is the smallest angle. That means BC is the smallest side. So think about the letters, ABC. Angle B is the middle measure, then AC, the other two letters, is the middle side. If angle C is the largest angle, then AB must be the largest side. So in this picture here, question says find all the missing angles. What I want you to do is kind of isolate the three triangles you see. You see one triangle to the left, one triangle in the middle, so this is almost like a puzzle problem, and you see a third triangle to the side. Use what you know about each triangle to help find the missing pieces. So 180 minus 113 minus 17, I'm starting with the yellow triangle there. So if that angle is 113, this one's 17, and all three of those add to 180, then angle F must be 50 degrees, kind of hiding up in there. Well, if that's 113, the two angles at E, remember, are supplementary. So if I have a 113-degree angle here, the angle next door to that is 180 minus 113, gives us 67 degrees. So now working in the green triangle, now I know two angles of the green triangle. So we have 48 plus 67 adds to 115, and I'm going to take 180 minus the 115. That third angle there is going to be 65. And last but not least, the pink triangle. Well, I have two angles of the pink triangle. So we're going to take the 180, all three angles should add to 180, subtract 120, subtract 32. We get 28 degrees. So now we have all the angle measures, we can kind of decide the shortest sides and longest sides. So looking here, circle the longer segment based on the diagram. So DH and GH. Well, DH and GH are in the pink triangle. So we need to decide what side is longer. So what angle is the biggest? Well, H is the biggest, right? But is DG an option? DG? No. So then we go to the next biggest angle is angle G. So what we do is we cover up the 32 and we look at the other two letters, D and H. So DH must be the longest side. Letter B, DE and DG. Well, DE and DG are in the green triangle. So we got to kind of isolate our picture here and just look at the green triangle for a second. All right, DE and DG. Well, DE is opposite 65, right? And DG down there is opposite 67. So DG is across from the 67-degree angles because 48 and 65 are smaller than 67. So DG is going to be the longest because, again, largest angle, opposite longest side. So DG must be longer there. EG and FG. EG, FG. Well, my bet is on FG. Right? Because FG looks longer. If I were to take my ruler there, right, that one is up to about my fingernail. And EG is definitely kind of coming in at a shorter measure. Okay. So if I kind of held at G, this one is definitely longer than that one. So we're going to go with FG. And DE versus EG. Well, DE is opposite 65. Well, 65 is definitely longer than 48. So we're going to go with DE there. Okay. So with that said, those are your notes. Looking at your classwork examples, please label your pictures. Now, this picture looks about equilateral, but you have to use the measures given to you. So if R is here, S is here, the third angle is T, triangle RST. R is 75, S they tell you is 20. So we have to do some math there. So 180 minus 75 minus 20 gives you the third angle is 85 degrees. They're asking which side is the longest. So if I cover up the largest angle, then the side left over is going to be RS. So my answer here is going to say RS as a segment. So they're asking for a side. A side has two letters. So RS is a side. So remember, when they're asking for a side, you give me two things, not just one thing. The largest angle would be T if that was the question. So you got to read these carefully. Something with number 2, here they tell you you have an isosceles triangle where LO and MO are equal. So that isosceles triangle is really kind of upside down here, okay? That these sides, LO and MO, are equal. Therefore, at the base of those base angles are equal. So I'm going to tell you that this angle is 55 here. So based on it being isosceles with these two sides is equal, these two angles are equal. From there, you can use supplements to find the next angle at M. These add to 180. Something else, you can isolate this triangle. You know, two of its angles, you can find the third. So remember, you have two different triangles, really 3 different triangles kind of formed in this picture. So use what you can to help find the measure of angle N. Okay. Number 3 is the exterior angle rule, that the exterior angle equals the two angles not touching it. So A and B don't touch the outside angle C. So here the exterior angle equals angle A plus angle B. Do what you can with number 4. Read the question. I gave you a little diagram to kind of help. Make sure you put the A, B, and C in. An exterior angle at A is going to tell you A is there. That might help. And the next page, try what you can. All right. Use the information, label the pictures. If I do not see numbers on these pictures, you are not getting full credit. Okay. So please, please, please be drawing on the pictures. This last one here, again, that distance formula was from notes 3.02. Good luck. Thank you. If you have questions as you're working on these, please make sure to be putting a question mark next to it, and leave me a comment as you're submitting. I can make sure to set up a Google Meet with you. Thank you.